All right, here with reaction to all of tonight's stories, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. So I first interviewed you in a Holiday Inn in 1990. If you would have told me that day that years later I would be talking to you about virulent anti-Semitism in the halls of Congress, on college universities, worldwide, a president that would abandon Israel after the worst terror attack in their history and tell them not to respond. And if you would have told me any of these things, that we'd have the weaponization of our Justice Department the way it is today, I never would have believed it. I guess I was young and naive. I didn't think it would be possible.
Well, I think because I'm a lot older than you, I remember Ronald Reagan as governor dealing with the demonstrators at Berkeley. And he was very clear about it. He was going to clear it out. He was going to stop it. He was going to use the National Guard. He was going to do whatever it took. A couple of simple steps. Every university should expel every student engaged in anti-Semitic activity. Anybody who's engaged in anti-Semitic activity who is not an American citizen should be deported immediately. Now, those two steps alone would bring a great deal of quiet in the next 30 to 60 hours. But you have to have people with guts willing to stand up for America and willing to stand up for the rule of law. And right now, you don't have that. Most of these senior universities are headed up by people who are totally cowards, who are intimidated by the thugs and the brutal people and the pro-terrorists. And in fact, they need to stand up to them. That was Reagan's great fight as governor, and it helped make him president of the United States. I think in terms of the court, something that Speaker Mike Johnson said really struck home with me when he said about the decision on whether or not to help Israel and Ukraine, that this is not a game. Let me tell you, I am deeply worried that tomorrow a totally corrupt judge and a totally corrupt district attorney are going to try to put a former president of the United States, candidate of his party, and front runner in the polls in jail. Now, I think this is so horrendous that there has to be some way to reach out to the Supreme Court. I mean, this is literally like some of the civil rights workers in Mississippi in the 1960s. The New York system is now so deeply corrupted, and it is so bitterly, deeply anti-Trump. The absurdity of the judge's daughter, who made millions and millions of dollars doing anti-Trump politics, and the judge would like us to believe, much like Joe Biden, he had no idea what his children were doing. I mean, the whole thing, frankly, resembles On the Waterfront, Stanley Kubrick's brilliant film. This is about corruption. It has nothing to do with honesty. And what worries me is it's a genuine threat to Donald Trump. I mean, I think any step that would put him close to a New York prison is an extraordinarily dangerous step. And I would hope that there's some legal way to block it and make sure that it never happens, because the thugs he's dealing with are totally out of control, have total contempt for the rule of law, and frankly are unworthy of being in the offices they hold.
I don't think there's anything worse than Biden stabbing Israel in the back and the weaponization of our justice system. And we will watch tomorrow, because tomorrow there'll be a hearing about, quote, the gag order, which I would argue is unconstitutional. Mr. Speaker, the world has changed a lot since 1990, not for the better. Thank you for being with us. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.